Welcome to the deep dive.
Hmm.
Okay, so you're feeling just completely drained, right? Really fatigued, motivation's low, feeling overwhelmed, kind of stuck.
Hmm.
And it's no wonder you're dealing with a really difficult breakup while still living together, planning a huge international move, money worries, work deadlines.
And personal goals on hold, plus telling family about the split. It's a perfect storm of stressors.
Totally understandable to feel wiped out.
It
Absolutely.
really is. So our mission today, basically, is to figure out why you're feeling this way, using your own reflections and this guide, Navigating Overwhelm,
Yeah, that guide's helpful.
and then give you some solid, evidence-based ways to start moving forward towards feeling a bit better, maybe even finding some gratitude in there somewhere.
Exactly. So we'll dig into the physical stuff, the mental stuff, tackle those really specific, tricky bits like the living situation and this question about fasting.
And wrap up with a kind of toolkit, a daily plan to help you get back on track.
Okay, let's jump in. Why does this pileup lead to such intense fatigue? Where does it start?
Well, the guide mentions a few angles. There are, like, predisposing factors, maybe biological things, some research hints. Women might report fatigue differently sometimes, for instance.
Interesting.
Then the clear triggers the breakup, the move, the finances. Those are the precipitating factors, but the perpetuating ones, that's where we can often intervene.
Okay, like what?
Things like, you know, sleep getting messed up, maybe not eating in a way that gives you steady energy, maybe not moving much because you feel exhausted, and just the ongoing stress itself feeding the problem.
Right. So physically, what's the stress actually doing to make you feel so tired?
Several things are happening, and they're all linked. Hormones are a big one. Your cycle, sure, but also chronic stress keeps cortisol high, and that just drains you.
Okay.
Then sleep. If that's off, it hits everything,
Hmm.
energy, how you handle emotions, focus, even cravings for sugary stuff that lead to energy crashes later.
Yeah, the sugar crash is real.
Totally. And nutrition generally, not enough whole foods can make those energy swings worse. Plus, your body's stress response system being constantly on, that takes a massive amount of energy.
Makes sense.
And just a quick note, if fatigue is really severe and persistent, it's always worth checking in with a doctor, just to rule out underlying medical things.
Good point. Okay, so that's the body side. What about the psychological impact? Feeling overwhelmed, stuck.
Well, the sheer weight of it all leads to emotional exhaustion. Burnout, basically. That feeling of wanting to just sleep to escape, not really caring much anymore.
Uh-huh.
This can show up as symptoms that look a bit like feeling low or depressed, low energy,
Mhm.
not interested in things, sleep changes, craving carbs, trouble concentrating. We're not diagnosing here, obviously, but those feelings are common.
Right.
Anxiety, too, feeling restless, worried, agitated, and the relationship distress, especially living together post-breakup, that eats up so much mental bandwidth.
Constantly there.
Exactly. Plus, the stress of a big move, the uncertainty, it all feeds into that negative cycle. Stress makes you feel bad. You maybe don't look after yourself as well, which increases the physical stress, which worsens your mood, and around it goes.
It's a vicious cycle. Okay, so let's tackle that living together situation. It sounds incredibly tough. How can you manage that?
Yeah, it's really emotionally charged. The guide suggests focusing communication on the practical stuff, logistics, finances. Try not to get pulled back into hashing out the relationship itself.
Easier said than done sometime.
Definitely. Setting clear boundaries is key. Maybe even scheduling specific times for necessary difficult talks. And working on your own emotional regulation is huge.
How? Like, what can you actually do?
Know your triggers. When you feel yourself getting overwhelmed or upset, pause, breathe. That 4-7-8 technique can be really grounding. Try to notice unhelpful thoughts and gently challenge or reframe them. Practice a bit of mindful detachment if you can.
Detachment, okay.
And lean on your support system, friends, family. A therapist could be invaluable right now, too.
Really practical tips. Okay, another specific you asked about. Prolonged fasting for mood and energy. What's the verdict there?
So you're wondering if it could help. There are theories, about ketones and brain fuels, stuff like that.
Right.
But honestly, the sources we looked at don't really support prolonged fasting as a go-to for improving mood or energy, especially not when you're already under this much stress and fatigue.
Okay. Why not?
It could actually add more stress to your system physiologically, potentially mess with hormones, risk nutrient deficiencies, and it doesn't fix the root causes of the stress or fatigue.
So probably not the best tool right now.
Probably not. better to focus on building those solid foundations first,
Yeah.
and definitely talk to a doctor if you are seriously considering it.
Makes sense. So
Yeah.
let's talk about the foundation. What's in this toolkit for resilience?
It starts with the basics, the pillars. Sleep first consistency, good sleep environment, winding down routine, nutrition shifting towards whole foods, less processed stuff and sugar, stay hydrated, and gentle movements. Start small, find something you might actually enjoy, even a little bit.
Gentle being the key word there.
Absolutely. This isn't about intense workouts right now. Then, managing the overwhelm, prioritize. Maybe just a brain dump list, then pick one thing. Or use a simple matrix. Break big tasks down.
Tiny steps.
Tiny steps. Time management can help too. Even just blocking out 20 minutes for one task. And sprinkle in stress reduction, quick mindfulness moments, deep breaths, saying no sometimes.
Setting boundaries.
Okay.
And what about shifting that mindset, getting unstuck?
Yeah, this is where behavioral activation comes in. It's a powerful idea. Basically, action can come before motivation.
Oh, interesting.
Identify tiny actions linked to your values, schedule them, and just do them, even if you don't feel like it. The feeling can follow the action.
Fake it till you make it, kinda.
Sort of, but it's more about building momentum through action. Then there's cognitive reframing, catching those negative thoughts and challenging them, finding a more balanced view.
Takes practice, I imagine.
It does. And finally, cultivating gratitude. Sounds simple, but consciously noticing small things you're grateful for each day, writing them down, just thinking them, it really can shift your mood and build resilience.
Okay, so foundations, managing overwhelm, shifting mindset. And the guide ties this into a daily blueprint.
Yeah, just some suggestions. Like a morning routine. Wake up consistently, hydrate, maybe a mindful moment or note gratitude, gentle stretch, get some light, balanced breakfast, pick your main tasks.
Setting up the day.
Exactly. Daytime. Maybe structure work a bit, take movement breaks, check in with yourself, eat well, try one tiny behavioral activation step, reframe a negative thought if it pops up. Evening, create a buffer before bed, maybe prep lightly for tomorrow, relax, limit screens, dim lights, consistent bedtime, another gratitude moment.
It sounds like a really supportive structure. So wrapping up, what's the main takeaway here?
Look, what you're going through is incredibly hard, but it is temporary. This multi-pronged approach, looking after your body basics, managing the tasks, actively working on your thoughts and actions, it really works.
Start small, right?
Absolutely. Start small. Focus on progress, not perfection. Be kind to yourself through this, seriously. And don't hesitate to seek professional support, whether that's your doctor or a therapist.
Great advice. And maybe a final thought for you to consider. Thinking about this whole toolkit, what's just one small thing, one tiny action that feels maybe doable today? What could be your very first step to shift things, even just a little? Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.